Timmy, did you see the Teofimo Lopez fight last night?
No, so guys, this is the second fight that Brian has tried to send me while he was currently inebriated. But I actually was awake enough to try to watch it, and I was like, my laptop is in the front. I'm not going to get it. Sorry, Brian, I failed you again. But 30 is a lucky time. So the next time you send me a fight on a night I've been drinking, I will watch it this time. I promise.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay. It was a shocking loss that Teofimo Lopez went out there.
I saw your tweets and like I dozed off. I woke up and saw the fight was already over.
Look, fighting is I got boxing gloves on my hat. You know what I mean? I got boxing gloves on my fitted today. So and the Puerto Rican flag because you already know it's the Bahamarican boys.
Oh, that's fire. Welcome to Bahamarican boys. Perfect intro. Are you sure that Dylan Donuts hoodie was supposed before our next episode? That's perfect for our next episode.
It is. Maybe the one after, depending on the direction of the next episode, because there might be some different. We might say this now, but we might actually swerve the Narcos bit next episode because there are a lot of other things to get to. But from Nassau, Bahamas, he is Timmy Bain. Timmy Bain.
I'm from Puerto Rico by way of New York. In New York by way of Puerto Rico? It's a New Yorker by way of Puerto Rico.
Family by way of Puerto Rico, but from New York City. I'm Brian Fonseca. We are the Bahamarican boys.
And don't mind me looking so fresh. But it came from the movies. I watched Encanto from your boy Lynn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. They're trying to get us with that movie. They got you know what I'm saying? They're trying to get my people.
My sister was there. My daughter was in there dancing. So, that's good vibes.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably for our non-sports episode. But for now, let's get into Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls. The Heat gutted out a win. Return
of the game. I was like, we're gonna lose this game again. I had no hope we're gonna win the game. Like pre-game, I was like, okay, it's a good matchup. Two of the best teams in the East, looking like. It just looked very lethargic. Like I don't know if we overhyped it. It's too early in the season, but a lot of the game just felt mucky, which clearly favors the Heat. But I wasn't really sure because DeRozan has been really like one of the maybe top 3 MVP candidates this season. So I'm like, DeRozan's gonna get us.
So now let's lay out as Timmy has like things falling in his crib. We're you know what I'm saying? We're doing this like just in our cribs because this is the same.
My daughter's room actually has the best like lighting and acoustics, but she didn't want to leave me today, so she promised she'd be quiet, but she's doing her best.
Okay, so Timmy's daughter's roaming around. But for the purposes of this conversation, let's lay a few things out. The Miami Heat beat the Chicago Bulls on Saturday, 107-104. At the time of we're recording this, the Heat are 13-7. The Bulls dropped to 13-8. Enormous road win because you actually made the point to me when we were talking about this last week. This might have actually been over text. But the Heat on the road were at 6-6.
6-6, yeah. 500, yeah. 6-6.
500 and 6-1 at home. And they have, I think it was maybe Greg Sylvander who pointed out, like, they actually have been playing like 2/3 of their games on the road.
Right. It would be like 1 home, 3 in a row. 2 home, 5 in a row. Like they have not really gotten comfortable at the FTX arenas yet. Like, and the next 13, as of this recording, the next 22 are actually on the road. That's not easy.
So in terms of, and now the schedule, which, we'll get to one game in particular at the end of this, but the schedule is, I don't know if I'm going to say it's going to lighten up, but you're definitely going to have some more home games coming up.
And it's actually per I can't remember who it was, but he actually has the easiest schedule for the rest of the season based on the contenders.
Really? I mean, we'll see because
based on current record, it's. Some teams have
unless you're playing the Houston Rockets every day. I wouldn't call.
In comparison to other teams, and in comparison to their record and actual home games left, the Heat have the easiest record going forward.
So Timmy, in watching the game, because here's what I thought. Right, I was encouraged by what they showed in the fourth quarter in particular.
Yeah, like I was
because watching in the first half, right. I was glued to the first half, especially in the third quarter. I had to move around a little bit, so I kind of missed it. And I did see like some people thought that the third quarter was not going to go their way, and then that's kind of how that went. But in watching the first half, it felt like it didn't feel like they were ahead, even though they were leading virtually the whole entire time. They were missing open jumpers. Bam wasn't as dominant as
And
you
we
probably would have
expect them to be
wanted.
because they literally have no big man other than Vucevic.
Yeah, which we're gonna get to Bam heavily in a second.
Bami, are you okay? Are you okay, Bami?
So basically, I did not. I was watching the first half, and it didn't feel like it was a grinded out first half, but it felt like the Bulls were the more confident team. I even said in one of our chats, if I was watching the game on mute, I would have thought the Bulls were ahead, which I was, but I could see the score. I should have said if I was watching it without the score.
Oh, let's go.
Anyway,
Yeah.
fourth quarter though, at one point the Heat are outscored the Bulls 30-20. We know closing has been an issue as of late. Jimmy Butler pointed that out, and other guys have pointed it out. Like, they squander. In particular, we remember the Los Angeles games we talked about up here a couple weeks ago. But what were your main takeaways? And did because I felt like this was a significant win against the Eastern Conference rival who has, high aspirations as well. What were your big takeaways from the game itself?
But Gabe has had a good 1 or 2 games, but
Gabe
but
Vincent,
really and
yeah.
truly, I'm like I was kind of scared to really believe in it. But this game where Gabe had maybe like 3 or 4 back-to-back threes, I was like, yeah, this is it. Like I was trying to understand. So I did some numbers trying to understand if it was because it was no hero. That's why Gabe went off.
Tyler Hero was out, yeah.
What I'm realizing is that Gabe does pretty well playing with Lowry. So I saw in our chat someone said maybe he's going to be the next Fred VanVleet. But Gabe, we said in the offseason maybe Gabe is going to be shouldn't be the backup point guard because he's more of a 2 in a 1's body.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tell like he maybe Spo realizes now that okay, get Gabe off the ball. He gets the hound the defense and just spot up. So and I know he had heart. I enjoy what he did for the Nigerian team,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like maybe we miscast him. We as in the team itself miscast him, trying to force him into being this facility. The sport did say gave us a new role this season where he's going to set it up, but on a team that's lacking weapons, especially with Morris being out, which we'll get to pretty soon, and Hero out, especially the night and Depot ways away. I think we found out that maybe we need to get Gabe off the ball. Maybe that makes Lowry plays a bit. Maybe Spo changes the substitution pattern because remember Lowry's always usually the first sub out, and then you end up playing Gabe and Jimmy or Gabe and Hero or Hero and Shrews. I expect Shrews to have a good night because he has had this Shrews night, and he had the most shot attempts in the first half. So I was like, okay, Shrews, okay, like show off for your family.
Yo, Max Strus and Gabe Vincent closing out the game, to your point.
And it's so wild. They were 2-way contracts last season.
Yeah. I mean, look, shit. I mean, I think Max Strus was an Exhibit 10 at one point before even getting the 2-way. So
and we said last season, but that's really, 4 months ago? Like, it's still the same gallon year,
Yeah.
It's the same gallon year.
I mean, that stuff still matters. Like, Exhibit 10s are not in vain. Your Gabe Vincent point is an interesting one because, like, I haven't conditioned myself to believe that he's going to be somebody that is, like, in the playoff rotation necessarily. So I'm not quite there yet, but I like what I see. I love his toughness. I like him, especially when he can hit some threes because, he's out there to do that as well. But he does make sense in some lineups with Kyle Lowry, with Tyler Hero. I could see him playing with Victor Oladipo in my head. It makes sense with other guys who aren't necessarily, well, in the case of Hero and Victor Oladipo, not necessarily traditional point guards, but will primarily handle the ball while Gabe Vincent is out there and Gabe could play off of them.
And he can just hound the opposing
play defense. And the Fred VanVleet comparison is an interesting one. I'm not quite there with him, but I will say, like, there are some parallels there in terms of size, in terms of being undrafted, being from mid-major schools. He went to UC Santa Barbara, Fred VanVleet from Wichita State. Neither of them put up big numbers in college either. He's clearly not that because Fred VanVleet, was out the gate faster. But if you want, if he is whatever the poor man's version of Fred VanVleet is as a function of somebody who could be next to your primary ball handlers like Oladipo from the guard spot in particular, like Oladipo, like Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, that makes sense.
It's interesting. D'Lo's kind of last 4 to 6 games of really being hot has coincided with Pat Bev now starting with him. How do you feel about that? D'Lo's really started to come on the moment Pat Bear started. So maybe we need to look into that. Maybe we just have he's a point guard, but his only
Yeah.
job is to shoot and play
Well,
defense.
Patrick Beverly's like a 3-and-D point guard, and he's
Right,
not really, he's really
right.
only a point guard because he's like 5'11".
And I almost wanted the Wolves to buy him out for the Heat because you could imagine if he had Pat
Oh,
Bev
yeah.
on this team. Oh man,
Well, look, I'm still on the Heat should get Tyus Jones bandwagon, but
yeah,
that's
yeah,
another
yeah,
discussion for another day. But if Gabe Vincent keeps playing well, then we won't need
yeah.
to see
It'd be a
them.
moot point.
We
It'd be
won't
a
need to
moot
see
point.
them get Tyus Jones or anybody like that. Now, is Bam Adebayo? Is he doing all right?
Bammy, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Bammy? So he missed about 4 games, and I remember the game that he got
Two.
the
It
knee
was only
bruise, and
two. I thought it was
it felt
more.
like it felt like 4.
So allow me to set this up because we now 2 weeks ago we gave out our 1 month player grades.
Yeah, yeah.
Bam Adebayo was given a B+ by Timmy and an A- by me. We both pointed out that the aggression is good, but kind of fading away a little too much and not really sort of going up strong more often than, or as often as he should, even though he is getting to the line more, which I was very encouraged by. Now, though, the production of the last 5 games, which is the span of, since we had that last conversation, because he did miss a couple games, there have been some interesting things. I'm not alarmed necessarily because it's, early, but Timmy, we're about 25% into the season at this
Mm-hmm.
point. So there are some trends, there are some things that matter, whatever the case may be. Before I toss this to you, let me throw out some numbers, as I like to do. As you can see, put that on the screen up there. His last 2 weeks in those 5 games we talked about, 11 and a half field goals per game, 15 points, 7 rebounds, about 4 assists. So that's up. And only 55.6% from free throw. That's an interesting point. We're going to get back to that in a second. Timmy, I'm going to throw this at you. So 1.4 fewer free throw attempts per game since we had that conversation 2 weeks ago. 0.4 more offensive rebounds per game, but he's averaging half the defensive rebounds per game than he was before. It was at 8.8, now it's at 4.4. And the rebounds were at, 11, now they're at 7. So his rebounding has been cut a lot.
Because he was basically almost like 11 or 12 rebounds the first couple of games of the season.
So before I want to get to his defense in a second, but before that, just based off of the rebounding and the offense, what have you seen so far in those last 5 games?
I really think he is hurt. That's why I'm thinking, Bammy, are you okay? I think the knee bruise, which won't be like tendonitis, which is really not really a injury. You have just to manage the pain, really. I think he is hurt because he isn't laboring, but he doesn't look quite okay on the court. He's drifting back into his habits of being tentative when he catches the ball. Like the first couple of games of the season, he'd catch it, take a shot, catch it, THO, roll. Like, so right now, I don't know if he's tentative because he's trying to play through the pain. I don't know if he's trying to help Larry and Jimmy and the other guys like get comfortable. I think it's a combination of the. But I think it boils back down to the pain. When you're in pain and you're injured, you change your whole game. You think about the injury more, and in sports you think that's where you get in problems. It's supposed to be reactive. You're supposed to just go with the flow. So I think Bam is just thinking too much because he's hurt, and it's not an injury where like if he sits 3 weeks and comes back, he's brand new. He is going to linger for the entire season. So I think right now he's just trying to be here for a couple of games, be back out, be here, be back out. So it's just
Yeah.
I actually am shocked that this rebounds is that high because it felt like he wasn't rebounding at all these games. It felt like because we were getting demolished on the glass. So I'm shocked, but I still would like him to be back up to 9 or 10 rebounds. The assists are up, like we said, eventually will be back up too. And we need Larry to be more of a scorer, especially with how this roster makeup is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Bami is not okay.
Now, let me see. The shooting numbers, right? The shooting numbers, he's at 31% in that 3 to 10 foot range that we talked about before. And that was at 18.9% before, so that's actually gone up. 38% from 2 between 10 and 16 feet, which is actually up as well. But, he's also taking a lot fewer shots. It's like 2.5 fewer field goal attempts per game. Timmy, let me ask you a question. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
If you had to guess, where do you think the Heat are in blocks?
Oh, we at the bottom of the park. I give it 28th. 28th. Yeah,
They are 30th.
yeah.
But they're dead last in the NBA with a fucking bullet. Okay, at the time of this recording, the Heat have 48 blocks this season. The Cleveland
Total?
Cavaliers 48 in total. Okay,
Rudy Gobert probably has like 100.
hold on. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the second lowest, which was actually kind of surprising to me because they have Jared Allen
Jared Allen and Mobley.
and Evan Mobley, but they only have 75 blocks. So think about that, right? The gap between it's processing. The gap between 29 and 30. The Heat have 48 blocks and the Cavs have 75 at the time of this recording. The Heat they're blocking 2.5 shots per 100 possessions. Per 100 possessions, not per game, per 100 possessions.
But that's kind of makes sense because we as the Heat, I don't work for the Heat, and stop saying we. But they don't get a lot of easy, but they're not any fast breaks that's generated from a block. So now I'm understanding what's happening.
Now, and that's interesting. You'll see where this goes. It's interesting to me because they're a good team defensively, like very good. They're one of the best teams in the league defensively. They don't block shots. Miles Turner has 62 blocks this season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I play fantasy, so I know about Robert Williams and
62 Mobley, at the time of this recording because we're recording Sunday night. Full disclosure, right?
Yeah.
Because and I say that because the Pacers are playing today. So whatever, Miles Turner might have 64, 65, 66, whatever. He has more than the Miami Heat in total. And the Pacers actually lead the league at the time of this recording, 139. They're probably in the 140s now. Bam Adebayo this season, 6 blocks in total. 6. Okay. 0.4 per 36. Has never had lower than 1.1 before this. But the defensive rating is at 102, the best of his career so far.
So I think maybe it's scheme then. It's not really.
But so basically, my question to you is this: because I'm not steals and blocks don't mean you're a great defensive player,
right?
But are you okay with Bam not necessarily being a shot blocker in that way, right? Because we know he can block shots. He's not quite the way Hassan Whiteside, nobody could do it with blocks. He's not like that, but
I'm kind of split. But like I say, if our defensive rating is that good, some shot blockers get too committed to blocking shots and end up playing bad defense. Like they get so committed to blocking the shot that they are out of rotation. So maybe he's that disciplined, and that's why he's such a great defender. He knows when to just be in the space, be in the area switch. So I'm okay with Bam maybe being that low, but I don't know how I feel with that team as a whole being that low in shot blocking because I think maybe he's gonna come back to bite us because teams aren't afraid of us in the paint.
Yeah,
Bam is released, and one reason why I think Bam might be hurt is he is playing against bigger guys. So, and I know this is always an argument. Maybe he's played Bam at the 4, yada yada yada. I still think his mismatch is at the 5, but it's something to watch in the next year or two. If playing up is hurting him.
It's interesting because it's like I'm not the guy who thinks I don't even think blocking shots is that important, but they don't have a shot blocker really on their roster, right?
Nope.
Like even back in the day, Dwayne Wade was one of the best shot blocking shooting guards ever.
Shout out to Joe Anthony.
Yeah, Alonzo Mourning, et cetera, et cetera. But you have nobody on this team who is a paint defender from that standpoint, right? Bam is a good paint defender. What makes him so unique is that he's one of the best in the NBA at switching. And he can guard legitimately 1 through 5.
I think it was you posted that thing where he basically is like the best in the league.
He posted that, and I think I reposted it. That he's the best switch defender in the NBA statistically by whatever metrics they're using or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
It's evolving all the time. But I mean, look, and Heat fans have complained, and we've watched games, and we're like, "Oh, damn, they switch a lot." You know what I mean?
Like unnecessarily.
I mean, so you talk about the size being something that hurts him, but like. Well, from a like a physicality standpoint,
right.
But what about like, is there wear and tear on all the switching and having to keep up with guys that are so much smaller?
Every single possession, he's calling on the save me. So maybe over time that's wearing him down. And I saw an article years back that said maybe the reason why we've gotten so many ACL tears, meniscus tears over the years because of the
knock on wood.
Knock on wood. I mean in general for the whole NBA, like. The reason why everything is up because there's a lot of side-to-side motion now with basketball. It's a faster pace, and you're defending so much pick and rolls. That's wearing down your joints and your cartilage quicker. So it just may be that all
and,
this activity is like on the body.
and that's before you even get to like guys playing AAU and perhaps
Yeah, yeah.
overplaying as children. Because now we're in that era.
Olympics in the summer.
Because now we're in that era. Because when I was growing up, AAU was big, but it wasn't quite this. And I'm probably the same age as the average NBA player is.
Right. Yeah.
I'm 27. I'm about to turn 28. The
Yeah.
average NBA player age is probably somewhere between 26, 28, whatever the case may be. It's a very young league, but the guys that I grew up playing around and things of that nature, like it was 6 games on tournaments, in the span of like 2-3 days and this and that.
Yeah.
Like,
But
you know,
I just had the entire Battle for Lannis and Bahama Hoop, so I just watched about 15 college teams just play 7 games over a span of a week. So that's kind of
yeah.
at 18,
So
19.
I mean, look, we'll see. Hopefully Bam is okay and healthy. But and they're gonna need him to be because their next game, which we're gonna talk about right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Denver Nuggets tonight. At the time you're watching this, hopefully, if you saw it on time, Heat Nuggets. How turned this game is going to be? Woo!
I actually think it won't be because Jokic probably isn't playing. Jokic has
So
been out for a week with a bad wrist.
yeah, that's true. His
Morris is still out. Morris
brother's
would
still
have
going to be
missed
there.
11 games from that push.
So that was the 10th game of the season. The Heat dropped to 7-3 when they lost that game. It was 113-96. If people probably remember, but we'll say it anyway for the purposes of laying things out. Take foul by Markieff Morris, a hard one.
And turned his back.
On Nikola Jokic, and then turned his back, and then Jokic threw his entire body weight and trucked into Markieff Morris's back. We have not seen Markieff Morris play a game since.
Is a big guy.
Yeah, Jokic is 6'11", maybe 2. I don't know what he's listed at, 270, 280. Some people think he might be 300-ish, whatever the case may be. Markieff Morris, not a small dude, 6'8", 230 maybe, something along those lines. Yeah. And Markieff Morris is still not played. He has a neck strain, which
whiplash.
He's been out.
That's the first time I've ever seen whiplash on the injury report.
I had whiplash from a car accident before. Yeah. 10 games Markieff Morris has been out, and he might he's maybe
they actually
against the Nuggets, but
no, he isn't. He isn't. The Ray Youngs. He isn't playing.
He's not playing. Okay, so he's out. Nikola Jokic
might not play.
We don't know. But what are just the general expectations here? Because Jimmy Butler had a great game last time, 31, 8-5, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, that is. And that was really it.
And Haslam made a comment, hey, don't be, he saw the Jokic brothers, they made a Twitter, made a tweet, bought tickets. He said, hey, don't bring that down to my city. Like, don't act unruly. I'm very interested in seeing the fluff. Like, you're gonna see ESPN is gonna have the camera on the Jokic brothers. There's a camera on Morris. It has, I think it makes some housing minutes. If it gets to be a bit too testy from early, we're gonna get some housing minutes, I feel.
Listen, if there's any look, yes, I agree. I do want to see Udonis Haslem in this game. Because some people were joking, start Haslem. But I would totally understand if you do it, right? Yeah. If you just gave him the start, just put him out there for a few minutes. Maybe he
just so the body act up, when he's in school and the dean would come around, or you'd be like, you wouldn't do anything other way because you're afraid to get beaten. Let's start Haslem so everyone just being there, their P's and Q's.
But I think to your initial point, it's entirely possible, and not only possible, but likely that we probably won't see much because, as you said, Jokic might not even play. So therefore, why would you need?
Yeah, we'll get plenty chirping. We'll be playing chirping on the sidelines for sure.
Morris is out. We don't even know if the Jokic brothers are actually going to show up.
But they bought tickets. I understand Jokic made a lot of money, so maybe they waste money. But they bought tickets.
Yeah, we don't know, but at the same time, it's I do think that, and I'm sure that the teams themselves want to avoid, especially Denver.
Especially after what's happened with the LeBron and Stewart situation.
Yeah. I think the Heat would want to the Heat will be down, right? But I think the Nuggets are not going to want to escalate this any further. They don't necessarily need to, but I think we'll most likely see nothing. But look, yeah, I would want Udonis Haslam out there just to regulate. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Warren G.
Shout out to Warren G. You know where I was going.
Yeah, man.
You
Yeah.
knew where I was going.
Shout out to
And Nate
Warren.
Dogg, rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I really think that Udonis Haslam getting minutes would be interesting. But as far as the game itself, like, I'm not gonna call this a must-win because we're really not at that stage of the
Yeah,
season
we're not
yet.
there. We're literally only a quarter into the season. It
But
might seem like a lot, but we're literally 25% into the season.
but protect your home floor, right? As we mentioned earlier, the schedule is going to start to look different now. Not as many road games coming up. I'm just going to run through the next set of games real quick. If you want to play win-loss at home, or Timmy, if you want to do that, you could. But as far as the next several games, they have on NBA TV tomorrow, home against Denver. They have home against Cleveland 2 nights after. They have
Sexton out, Mobley's back
okay, Sexton's out
for the season. Yeah,
unfortunately.
and Mobley came back last night.
Oh yeah, big fantasy night for me when he came back. Friday, Saturday this week, back to back at Indiana, at Milwaukee. That's tough. And then your 3 home games next week because they're only at home next week. They're home against Memphis, home against Milwaukee again. That's an ESPN game, December 8th, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. And then home against the Bulls, who they just beaten. And then it gets a little bit lighter because you have 4 road games, but you're in Cleveland, in not Phoenix. You're in Philadelphia, in Orlando, and in Detroit. And then from there, the schedule really softens because you see the same
interesting. So they play the Bucks twice in a week.
Yeah, and play the Bucks twice within the span of a few days.
And as of this recording, Boogie is back.
DeMarcus Cousins is back in the league. Yes, he did.
Lopez
sign
has
today,
played 1 game for the season.
Game. So that's pretty much it. Timmy, any last words before
we got 3 more minutes to go? I just want to know what's any surprises to you have for the standing so far, a quarter into the season. Any surprises for you?
Woo! I mean, the Lakers, man. Woo! 1, I am not enjoying watching them straight up, and 2,
So you guys know I love my Bahamian propaganda on this podcast.
Yeah.
I love my Bahamian propaganda.
I have
LeBron. I was in the lift headed to the NBA game when Rose tweeted that Buddy was going to the. I had my tweet.
I know what I just did.
I had my tweet get up, and then 2 minutes later, Sham said, "No, they're going to trade for Westbrook," and I'm like, "Oh, I was right there." As most people don't know, Rob Pelinka was Buddy's agent when he got drafted.
Yeah.
He was Buddy's agent for like 6 to 7 months. It was Rob who did the Boogie for Buddy trade. They do all that type of stuff. And then he had to give up his agency to be the GM of the Lakers. So it's not a secret that Rob really wanted to bring Buddy home. Buddy wears Kobe's number. Buddy actually got some mentorship from Kobe. It would have been perfect. So majority of Bahamians are Laker fans or Boston fans. So literally the Bahamians in this country would have been out of their mind to have a Bahamian player on the Lakers. So I like that Buddy showed LeBron what he would have gotten if he didn't next the trade. But he had like 3-3-pointers in both overtimes. The Kings are actually in play-in position. They're 11th, and they're only 2 games behind the Nuggets, who are 10th. So this whole, I know it's too early to tell, but this whole schedule is mucking up. But what I'm shocked, 7th in the West are the Wolves. 7th.
And I'll leave y'all with this. You know that at the end of the day, what Timmy wants is a Duncan Robinson Buddy Hield swap.
Yeah,
so
buddy.
if the Heat can execute that, Timmy will be a happy guy. All right, that's it for episode 5 of the Bahamarican Boys. We have an email. We have a Gmail set up.
So please don't DM us on IG. Come on Twitter, but keep it respectful and hit us in the Gmail.
Yes, questions about anything, about being Bahamian, Puerto Rican, about anything basketball related, non-sports related, non-sports questions, especially silly as possible, stupid as possible.
Let's
really
talk about the Grammys. Let's talk about music. Let's talk about soccer. I love soccer.
Yeah, and then not too long from now, we'll just have an episode where we just read off a bunch of questions. Yeah, and that can be a lot of fun. So you'll see it right there on the scroll, but I'll read it out. Bahamaricanboys@gmail.com. That is Bahamaricanboys@gmail.com. For Timmy Bain, I'm Brian Fonseca. This has been Bahamarican Boys.
Welcome to Bahamarico.
5.
Tell me, are you okay? Are you okay?
We'll see y'all back later this week.